Hello, I'm Moira Neal and I'm going to show you how to make a colourful face mask like this. I've had real lot of fun making these, and I've designed this pattern so that you can use a contrasting fabric to come over the front. You can, if you prefer, have the lining going to the back so that you've got a solid colour. It's up to you, and I'll show you both ways as we go. This was all modelled on a mask from the hospital a few weeks ago, and I decided actually that this is too narrow and also this part here is too wide, and these strips, if you put it in the washing machine, are going to get very tangled up. So my design is a bit wider, and I've actually used 9-inch wide fabric and lining, and it's 6.5 inches deep. And the first thing you need to do is to put the two fabrics together, right size together, and then machine 1/4 inch from the edge, okay? And then take it to your machine and press that seam open. Okay, once you've done that, flip a 1 inch, about an inch over, and then press that again, and that will give you that overlap if that's what you want. Okay, now the next thing you're going to do is we're going to put the stiffening part in, and for the stiffening I'm actually using tomato puree tube because I use a lot of it in my work, and I get given lots and lots of sheets of this lovely golden metal, and it's free and easy to use. So it does mean that you're going to have to eat lots of spaghetti bolognese and chili con carne and stuff. But if not, you can take your tube of tomato puree and you can squeeze it out into ice cube trays so that you've emptied this. So squeeze it all the way down, make it nice and flat, chop off the top and the bottom, and then cut up the side with scissors. And then you've got to be really, really careful because this is razor sharp. So use a knife to prise it open, run it under the tap, and then you'll end up with a beautiful piece of golden metal like this. Now get an old boning tool or an old piece of wood or something like that and flatten it out like this. So really push hard, give it a good rub, and then you end up with a beautiful flat shiny metal like that. Now the next thing you need to do is to cut this into 1/2 inch strips. You can get about 9 out of one tube. And once you've cut it into strips, take a pair of small scissors and just round off those corners, top and bottom, because I did find when I first did this, they poked through slightly, so that's not a good plan. So take a piece of sellotape and just sellotape the metal just below that fold, because it's going to end up on the inside on the lining. And once you've done that, take it over to the sewing machine and then machine that in place. And I've gone all the way around it with a straight machine stitch, just overlapping the start and finish like that. Once you've done that, put the two pieces of fabric together again and then machine across that bottom edge. And here's one I've already done. So once you've machined it through, along the edge there I should say, turn it through, right like that, and then take it over to the iron and press well, so that that bottom seam is pressed nice and flat as well. So you'll end up with a piece like that. Now make sure, by the way, that you put the foil on the top edge. Anyway, so once you've done that, you need to start pleating the sides. I've done one side here. What I do is I pleat down from the top, and I use pins to hold these in place. And you're aiming to reduce this down to about 2.5 inches. I found that works well because it keeps the mask away from your eyes and it's nice and snug around your ears as well. So just get these pleated down to about you can use 3 or 4 pleats. I'm using 4. The mask that I copied had 3, but because I'm wanting it to go tighter, I'm actually making 4. And then just check the measurement. That's 2.5 inches there. I've done this quite a few times, so I'm getting quite good at judging it. The most important thing is to make sure that both your sides are the same. Okay, once you've done that, take it over to the sewing machine and machine down from top to bottom over those pleats, 1/4 inch from the edge. And when you're sewing, it's a really good idea to start with a piece of fabric. This is called a thread saver. So if you machine over that bit of fabric and then onto this, it makes it easier, especially at this next stage, adding the elastic. Now you'll need to cut the elastic into 5-inch strips or longer, maybe. You will end up looking like you've got wing nuts if this elastic is too tight. So it might be better to start off with maybe 5.5 inches and then cut it back if it's too big for you. So pin it in place, then go up to the machine over this, and then onto the elastic, backwards and forwards, and then over to the other side where you're going to get the elastic round and pinned there, and machine backwards and forwards over that a few times as well. Now once you've done that, there's 2 things you can do. On the masks the earlier masks I made, I actually put on some bias binding. So you would lay bias binding over that and then machine it over and then turn the whole lot through and then machine across there. But what you can, which is like this, but what you can do, excuse me, instead, it's cheaper and quicker. You could just machine zigzag over that edge and then just turn in less of it and then machine that on the front. Obviously don't make a huge, don't turn it over as much as this because obviously it'll make these tighter. So it's up to you, use bias binding or not. Oh goodness me, I haven't got the virus, don't worry. This is left over from my trip to India. And I was so bored yesterday, I had a bit of fun with this mask and I've actually machined onto it. If you can read this, you're too close. So there we go. That is how to make a mask very quickly, and you can see that the tomato puree holds it really snugly over your ears. If you prefer not to have a contrast at the top, that's fine. Just remember to put the strip of gold just below that join on the lining, and then you'll get a plain colour. Okay, enjoy it and have lots of fun making your own. And do remember that there is a downloadable. I have printed all the instructions, and you're very welcome to share them as much as you like. Thank you. Bye bye.